Come on, TV, give me some of that sweet, sweet pep.
Sega TV!
Sit right, we bring you.
Yes! Hello Marvel Legends, it's time once again for a Legends Legacy review, and we got a good one. Oh, they're all good ones, aren't they? We love this is why we do them. But as you can see from the various figures adorning the ludicrously expensive Spinatron 5000, we're going to take it to the streets. We're going to take it to the people, the mean streets, something I'm very familiar with growing up in the mean streets of Woking and Berkshire. We have yellow costume, Daredevil. We've just done the Bucky cap, so you guys are familiar. You know this already. It's pretty much, in video game terms, a palette swap. Is what we've got here. We've got a palette swap with a few little extras here and there, but I'm not going to teach you too much. What am I saying, teach? I'm not teaching you anything. Most of you guys who watch this know more than I do, as the comments show. But hey, I used the phrase in the last video, teach your grandmother how to suck eggs. Well, just so turns out that back in ye olden days, they would actually like drink raw egg. I know, gross, right? What were you, training to fight Tyson or something? But either way, teaching your grandmother to suck eggs implies that, you know, by the time that someone's a grandmother, she knows how to suck eggs. She's been drinking eggs for years, hence why are you doing it? That's where that expression came from. Aren't you glad you clicked on the video now? So, yellow costume Daredevil. He wore these colors in his first, I believe it was 4 issues. And apparently he wore the red and yellow because that's the colors that his father wore, battling Jack Murdoch when he was a boxer. So Daredevil wore these colors to kind of pay tribute to his father. And from what I understand, actually, little known fact, interesting, I should do like a top 10 things you wouldn't believe about Daredevil, but heaven forbid I go too clickbaity, but Daredevil cannot see colors, but he can actually like sense colors. His radar heightened sensors are so sort of, you know, precision that he can actually sense like what a color is. So, you know, he knew what he was doing in that regard. Apparently, like he can feel what money. Well, actually, money's different sizes, isn't it? So that would make sense anyway. But I digress. But still, he went for the red and yellow before making it all plain red. Now, one thing that kind of bugs me is that just that I don't have the plain red Daredevil. Ugh, there are 2 versions out there. There's the plain red Daredevil that came with the Hobgoblin wave, and then there's the plain red Daredevil with the inverted colors, the dark is light and the light is dark, that came with the Defenders box set. Neither of which I have. And I've been very tempted to pay silly money to pick them up, but now I'm feeling like, ooh, we gotta be nearing that time where we get a new Daredevil coming out. So I'm gonna hold fire and see if I can get a nice new one, especially because those figures are also on this exact same Bucky cap body. And you know what? After looking at Winter Soldier, after looking at Yellow Daredevil, I gotta say it, I'm calling it now. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Bucky cap. The body, all right, the body is fine, but a lot of these early Bucky caps all had this same head, and this head it's just too thin. I'm sorry, it's skinny head. It's just a skinny head. Skinny head, skinny head. What are they feeding you? I don't have time for it. It looks just not strong, which is a shame. Because I do like this figure. This figure, first of all, the Bucky cap body is good. That's all there needs to be said. And I like the extras they've given. They've given him the nice little pouch pocket on the side here as well. He's got his batons, which are not the correct batons. I got this character secondhand, which is fine. I got a good deal. But he only had 1 red baton. And actually the guy who sold me messaged me afterwards. And he was like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I've only given you 1. And I was like, you can hit me up with it later. Jeb. But luckily I have these 2 silver batons here because I also have the new armored Daredevil, and he comes with the silver batons, but he also has them attached on his wrist gauntlets too. So I can take those, have the wrist gauntlet ones, boom, everyone's happy. But because of this, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's nothing that you don't already know. Also, there's another Daredevil. There's the Shadowlands Black Deadpool. Deadpool? What am I talking about? Deadpool. Daredevil. There's the Black Daredevil, which I sold when I got the armored one, and after doing that, I was like, shouldn't have done that. I kind of regret selling him because he's actually pretty cool. But he again is on the same Bucky cap with the same skinny head. And I'm like, we need a new, bigger headed Daredevil. But we'll get there in time. But again, we're on like 5 minutes, and I'm not going to waste your time. Your time's important. So let's just get to the final features so that we can wrap this up here. So without further ado, BJ, what bar is Yellow Costume Daredevil?
I'm so glad you asked, David. Now, in the number 3 spot for what bar is classic red and yellow Daredevil, I've picked Sugar Daddy. Now, this is a nice, sweet little treat, but also the name gives it a little bit of an edge, and who doesn't like a dark, handsome superhero with a little bit of scruff in a Sugar Daddy? For coming in at number 2, I've picked MasterCard. Because as we know, New York has a lot of heroes. We have the Avengers, we have Spider-Man, we have the Fantastic Four, but for everything else, there's Daredevil. And coming in at our number 1 spot for what bar, I give you McDonald's. Because it's there all night, and who doesn't love that classic, strong red and yellow color that everyone recognizes worldwide? So that is why McDonald's is my number 1 choice for classic red and yellow Daredevil. Back to you, David.
So now that we've established that, I think it's time to do my favourite part of the reviews. Well, it's all our favourite part. That's why we watch these reviews, because what we want to see is comparisons. So let's take a look at some comparisons.
So here's Yellow Daredevil on his own, and here he is with the modern armoured Daredevil. Here he is with a classic villain, the mad gun-toting Nuke, his arch-nemesis Bullseye, his best bud, the retro Spider-Man with the Peter Parker head, a little femme fatale action with Typhoid Mary, and finally, his one true lady love, Elektra Nachios. And here they are, ready for the yearbook photo.
And now we've got those comparisons done. Oof, wasn't that exciting? Let's take a look at where Yellow Costume Daredevil ranks on the Legends Legacy rankings. So Yellow Costume Daredevil is decent, but that's about it. He's just decent, so I can easily go past the characters that I know I don't really like. But then as soon as we start to get to ones that are kind of basic but good, we start to slow down. And I think, is he better than Blizzard? Yeah, I think so, but then we get to Carnage, and Carnage is good, more so. But I've got some things in the wrong order here because I prefer him to Captain America, not as much as Constrictor, so I'm going to say number 15 for Yellow Costume Daredevil. Okay, that's a decent ranking. Nothing amazing, nothing to necessarily write home about, but it's respectable. But now, finally, I'm going to do a segment which I've been meaning to do. I've been meaning to do for so long. I never like sat down and figured out what is my rating scale? How am I going to do this? So finally, on a lazy Sunday morning when I should have been studying, I decided to put together a little rating system. So, to quote our popular Charlemagne Prime, I'm going to give this character a sub-rating of...
It's good! It is very good, Marilyn. But it's not great.
And there you go, that is my movie clip / letter grading for Yellow Costume Daredevil. But also, I put this out to the people, to the fine people on Facebook. I asked, what is your opinion on Yellow Costume Daredevil? And this is what some folks had to say. On Marvel Legends Community, Joey says, I like this Daredevil, but because he was never on a team in that costume and only wore it for a couple of issues, I have no use for it. Dude, I hear you. And Ramon gave the fun fact that the Spider-Man Classics Yellow Daredevil chase figure was packed 1 out of 42 cases, making it rare and in demand, birthing the term YDD syndrome, the artificially inflated desire for an otherwise unpopular figure created by short supply. Dylan says, I had him and sold him as I preferred the classic red, but what would have made me keep the figure was if he was on a beefier buck, then I could have done a head swap and made him into D-Man. Jamie Lister says he's actually quite underrated, plus he looks awesome with the retro wave Matt Murdock head on.
Conan says this is definitely an underrated figure. He thinks that it's the most accurate one made. A couple of others out there were close, but for me, they didn't quite match up. Besides, Walgreen had an alternative head. He knew the color of his suit when he first made it. It was actually made out of his dad's boxing robes from what I remember as a kid reading old comics. I should go and dig the original ones out to check. I do know Murdoch does say he can feel the colors of the hue from the fabrics. Oh, I was kind of right there. Frank straight up loves this figure. Dan says, not got this one, but he had the red one from Hobgoblin Wave, and now he has the all new, all different black and red version. They're all the same figure, but with different boots and forearms. Great figure, but I think it's time Hasbro moved Daredevil to the Spider-Man buck. And Ethan still needs this bad boy for his collection. And finally, before we leave, I want to do a dedication, as I always do, to the amazing artwork and creativity that I find on Instagram. So guys, if you want to send me some pictures of, artwork you do, photography you take, cosplay, either send them to me on Instagram at displaying_model_behavior, or join the Discord with the Discord link on this video, which does work. I'm going to make sure of that. So guys, until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Hey.